Hi guys, welcome back to Cernys Kids. We're gonna go to Florida today.
Hi everybody, as they said, welcome back. We are going on our virtual road trip today to Florida. So if you haven't already, go to our website. We have a map which you can print and you can color along as you do your journeys. Alright guys, let's find Florida on the map.
Right below Alabama, Georgia.
Yep, correct. It borders Alabama and Georgia. And in the middle, it looks like, you see right here, this is the Gulf of Mexico. And on the other side is the Atlantic Ocean. So Florida became a state in 1845. It was the 27th state to become a state in the U.S. Its capitals are Tallahassee. And it's considered the Sunshine State. Do you guys know why it's the Sunshine State?
No, because it's hot.
I mean, every time we've been there, what do we always see?
Manatees.
The sun.
Manatees. We always see sun.
Well, no, when you're in Florida, it's sunny a lot because it's warm a lot. That's right. So Florida means it's the place of flowers, and they say that originated from Ponce de Leon when he actually arrived in Florida, that he said it was the place of flowers. And so we're going to talk about the Sunshine State today. And one thing I wanted to point out is Florida is known for
Oranges.
Well, it's their state fruit, right? So we've got a bowl of oranges, and we'll probably eat some in a little bit. Yeah, I know.
Cuties.
Yeah. They're both oranges, right? And they're probably from Florida. And so a few things that we wanted to talk about today on our road trip were the Everglades, in which we've been to, haven't we? Do you remember what we saw when we went to the Everglades?
Manatees.
Not manatees, not in the Everglades. Remember? Yep. Remember we went on the oh gosh, what are those boats called? They got the big old motors they were in the marshes.
I remember what they are, but I don't remember the names.
They're the airboats.
Remember
Remember it was really loud?
Yeah.
Remember what we saw in the
alligators.
Alligators, that's right.
I don't like alligators.
So the Everglades National Park is in Florida, and it has 1.5 million acres of land, and it's composed of the grass marshes. Those are what we took the boat on, right? The pine woods, and then the coastal mangroves. And we actually did some coastal mangrove stuff too when we went kayaking. Remember doing that too?
Yes.
Awesome.
That's where we saw manatees.
Well, yeah, so I guess we'll just go right on to manatees because it looks like we're pretty interested in talking about manatees. So manatees make Florida their home for a big piece of the winter. And did you guys, can you tell them about manatees? Do you know what, tell them about how
they live in warm water.
They can't, you're right, they live in warm water. They cannot live
in
cold water.
Fish are their guards.
They so we watched a video about manatees before, even though we've actually seen a live manatee. Remember when we saw a live manatee?
I remember.
Yeah, where were we?
They visit in a kayak.
Yeah, we were in a kayak.
In
Fort Myers, that's right. We actually had a manatee come right up next to us in a kayak. And it was so cool.
It said in the video that he actually likes visitors.
They do. So they're known as the sea cows. They're actually pretty peaceful animals. And it's illegal to touch them. Wow. However, they are so cute you want to, but we didn't. There is a place called Three Sisters Springs in Florida.
What if it touched you?
I mean, if it touches you, it touches you. It probably just wants his back scratched. So I guess manatees are known for liking their back scratched. So if they do turn to you, or they turn their back to you, most of the time I read that they want their back scratched. So that's kind of cool. But they're actually quite big. And they live up to be about 60 years old. But like I was saying, in Three Sisters Springs, it's about an hour and a half north of Tampa and about an hour and a half northwest of Orlando. So in that area on the Gulf of Mexico, you can actually go and swim with the manatees, which is something I know we have not been able to do that yet, but we are going to because I love manatees.
That's what we should touch them. I wish.
I don't know. You're not supposed to touch them because they're wildlife. But
I really wish.
Yep. So if you're wanting to look for manatees, there's a cool website called Florida Facts for Kids, and it's got a video on manatees and specifically on Three Sisters Springs. So from there, I guess let's go to Orlando because we'll just kind of go across the state. So we're gonna go to Orlando. What's big in Orlando, guys?
What's Orlando?
Come on, we've been there.
In Florida?
Disney. Walt Disney World. Yep. Yep. So we went to Disney. So unfortunately, a lot of these tourist attractions are closed right now, but there are options to go and see them virtually. And so we went to Walt Disney World. Specifically, we went on Space Mountain. And so if you go on InsideTheMagic.net, it's run by Disney, you can actually tour Space Mountain, which is cool. And so this year, it was in January of this year, Space Mountain celebrated 45 years of being open at Disney World. And so we decided we were going to take a ride. So tell them about what you saw when we did the video.
There were he had a baby. Noises.
What?
He had a baby.
There were
different kind of different.
You're on Manatees. We're on Space Mountain, girl.
Okay.
So
there were a lot of different noises.
So basically, yeah. So it's an indoor, dark, spaced, themed roller coaster. Remember the roller coaster?
Astronauts.
Yep. So actually, astronaut Gordon Cooper, he was on Mercury 7. He actually helped and creatively design the Space Mountain. So
that's actually cool.
It's actually really cool. So they tried to make it as realistic as possible. So you can go yourself and also take a ride on Space Mountain from home, which is kind of neat.
How can you?
Just like we did on the video. All right, so next.
Well, we can't actually go on it.
Well, no, we can pretend. We can just do this as we're pretending as we're watching, right? Because you've done roller coasters. So,
at Six Flags.
Yeah, at Six Flags, that's right. So the last
one I was so scared.
The next place we went over to the Atlantic Ocean side. It's literally right east of Orlando. And we went to Cape Canaveral, which is the spot for NASA. And so from there, again, if you go to nasa.gov, they have a lot of really cool things that you can explore.
.gov?
Yep, .gov means government.
Gov means government.
Yep. So we explored the International Space Station. So the International Space Station, it's in space. It's in low Earth orbit. Yep. And there's usually about 3 to 6 astronauts who are on the International Space Station at a time, and they are running experiments about the space environment and how it can really impact us here on Earth. And so they do stuff on biology, human biology, of course meteorology, which is the stars, meteorology, which is weather patterns. So really kind of fun. And so there's a lot of videos and stuff available on nasa.gov where you can explore different types of things from space, especially the International Space Station. So a few other quick facts is there's 5 different space agencies that actually help out with the International Space Station. The US, of course. Russia, Japan, Europe, and Canada all participate with the International Space Station. And currently, 3 out of the 6 astronauts are U.S. So Jessica Mayer, Drew Morgan, and Christopher Cassidy are current astronauts who are at the International Space Station.
I really want to be an astronaut when I'm older. Why?
Yeah?
I want to be a piano teacher.
Oh, okay. So we've got a future astronaut and piano teacher here. So you guys heard it first. So in 20 years, if that's not what they are, we can remind them that's what they said they wanted to be.
I thought Cora wanted to be a veterinarian.
That too.
I don't know what I want to be, a veterinarian or that.
Well, you can figure that out.
Veterinarian.
All right, guys. So do you wanna say goodbye to everybody so you can go eat some oranges?
Bye. Bye. Like and subscribe. Bye.
If you liked our video, like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.